Good morning. Welcome to the Mayor's Weekly News Conference. This week's agenda will have a neighborhood focus. We'll introduce the Historic Preservation Task Force, announce the creation of the City Action Team, provide an update on the East Bayfront Neighborhood Plan and identify next steps, discuss the Academy Marvintown outreach effort, explain neighborhood resources available for residents, and showcase Amara Masala. Now I'll turn it over to the Mayor.
Thank you, Renee. Good morning and welcome, everyone. As Renee mentioned, today's press conference is going to focus on the second element of our vision, which is that all Erie neighborhoods are welcoming and vibrant. Preserving the character and charm of historical buildings that make neighborhoods interesting and unique is an important part of realizing this part of our vision. Today, we are pleased to announce that in conjunction with City Council, we have created the Historic Preservation Task Force. The purpose of the Historic Preservation Task Force is threefold. First, it will help us develop a holistic, citywide, collaborative approach to historic preservation that aligns with the city vision. Second, it will provide recommendations for policies, programs, and organizational structure that City Council will then consider implementing. And third, it will identify funding opportunities. Today, we are pleased to announce that City Council and my team have appointed the 7 task force members, some of which are here with us today. They actually had their first meeting yesterday afternoon from 3:30 to 5 p.m. I'd like to invite Kathy Rosdeck, who will work closely with the task force, to introduce the team and explain next steps. Kathy?
Thank you. Good morning. I have to say, the first meeting that the task force had yesterday, it was a long one, an hour and a half. There was a lot of information thrown at them, but it was extremely productive, and I think everyone left there feeling very energized about the work that's ahead of them. When we first set out to create the task force, we wanted to identify members who had a specific skill set that they could bring those skills to the city of Erie and help us understand what we should be doing in order to preserve our rich cultural heritage and our historic assets. What we were looking for were local historians, historical representatives of historical organizations, preservation architects, community and preservation advocates, attorneys, and those in the real estate law or with real estate law background, and community planners. And we have to say that the city was fortunate to get interest from people with all of those skill sets and more. The 7-member team did meet yesterday and will work over the next few years to develop the policies that the mayor just addressed. They will help us understand what we need to do to preserve and promote our rich history and our assets. The task force members include Dave Brennan, who is here with us today. Dave, thank you. Melinda Meyer, Judge Libby Kelly, Mark Stegg, Melissa Kensel-Hake, Emily Alois, who is also here somewhere hiding in the back, there she is, and Chuck Scalise. The task force will be supported by an advisory board, including myself, our zoning office, city engineering, city council member Liz Allen, and Bill Callahan from the State Historic Preservation Office. I also have to give a shout out to the State Historic Preservation Office. They have volunteered their time, their efforts, and any resources that they can provide for us to do this work. Bill is a tremendous asset to the state and will be a tremendous asset to us as we move forward with this work. A planning commission member will also be appointed to the advisory board because there will be lots of tie-in to policies that are created through the planning commission. That person will be identified at the planning commission's meeting next week. I want to stress that the task force is designed to be temporary and a temporary advisory board. Not everyone on the task force actually lives in the city because we really wanted people with a wealth of knowledge and background in historic preservation to help us, and they came and answered the call. This is an incredible group, and we are fortunate to have them helping and supporting the city. I'm sure as as progress is made, we will be back in front of you, giving you more updates. That's all I have to say for that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Kathy. That really is an impressive, dedicated team. They will really help us implement the welcoming, vibrant neighborhood portion of our vision for Erie. I enjoyed participating in the great meeting yesterday. This Historic Preservation Task Force will help us shape Erie's future. Another recommendation from the Erie Refocused 5-year plan was to create a city action team. That city action team would meet regularly and develop an implementation of neighborhood plans and projects. The city action team will be composed of representatives from various city departments. They will work together to determine efficient ways to launch publicly funded improvements, such as implementation of streetscape enhancements, blight removal, and new green spaces. This will help us to enhance privately funded development projects and also neighborhood improvement efforts. To tell you more about who is on the team, what their strategy and next steps will be, I will invite back to the podium Kathy Rosdek. She's going to get her exercise today.
I can't tell you how excited I am to be announcing things that we have been working on for a number of years now, and we're finally coming to fruition. This is one of them. The City Action Team, or CAT team, can't think of a better acronym for the work that they're going to be doing, as the mayor said, is an internal team. These are the staff on the ground who are working every day in our neighborhoods. That the work that they do impact our neighborhoods. And this CAT team, as the mayor mentioned, was part of the City of Erie's Erie Refocused 5-year action plan. In fact, it was seen as such an important part of implementing a comprehensive plan that it was actually priority number 1 in the action plan. With the creation of this team, I'm pleased to announce that the city's action plan, which had 11 key strategic recommendations, has almost 95% been moved forward. That is an incredible accomplishment in the last year and a half for this city to have done. In a very short amount of time, we have implemented or started moving forward with almost all of the recommendations of their action plan. This is a significant achievement, and we should celebrate this achievement. The CAT team will include a number of key staff from various departments. Those departments will include code enforcement, zoning, parks, the Redevelopment Authority, grants, engineering and streets, economic and community development, the mayor, and the chief of staff. This team will work together to coordinate our efforts from each department and to ensure that we are having the greatest impact to our community. This will also be the place where local plans and strategic initiatives being developed by the city, neighborhood groups, and other community stakeholders will be reviewed to incorporate into the city's annual work plan and capital budget. Neighborhood plans, some of which we'll talk about today, that are being developed by the city will rely on the input from the CAT team to guide our recommendations, prior to them moving on to the Planning Commission and eventually City Council for adoption. The first meeting of the CAT team will start in July. They will meet on a monthly basis. Team members who are needed might be added when the need arises, and when they're not needed, they don't have to come to another meeting. But what I think you will find is when we were creating the action plan a couple years ago, the collaboration of all these departments coming in and sitting around a table and looking at priorities that are future, that will help drive this community in the future, was seen as such an amazing step forward. We wanted to recreate it and formally create it in the city, and we have done so, and starting in July. So again, I'll be back very shortly to talk to you a little bit more about the work that the CAT team will be involved in. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. Formalizing this team is a great step forward for us and making us more effective and efficient in assisting our neighborhood community groups in their development efforts. Next, we're going to provide you with an update on the East Bayfront neighborhood planning efforts. Our neighborhood planning efforts kicked off last July, 1 year ago, in the East Bayfront neighborhood with our Summer of Hope campaign. We went door to door under Kathy Rosdek's leadership. We started there because Erie Refocused directed us to shore up the neighborhoods that Erie's core is flanked by, that flank the downtown, those neighborhoods that flank the downtown. We decided our first focus should be the East Bayfront, where we had several neighborhood organizations willing to help us. Those organizations included BEST, Serve Erie, and Snoops. So that's a brief background on our efforts last year. Now I'm going to invite Kathy back to the podium to update you on next steps in our East Bayfront neighborhood.
Thank you again.
Sure.
So as the mayor mentioned, this has been a labor of love for the city. We have been focused on this work for over a year now. The core team that helped inform the strategic plan that isn't quite finalized, it will be finalized by the core team next year, included, or next week, included the neighborhood groups that were mentioned, city staff, which will eventually, you'll see, we're part of the CAT, will be eventually part of the CAT team, coming together, identifying priorities. This is what is the embodiment of a ground-up neighborhood plan. As the mayor mentioned, we knocked on 400 doors. Actually, we knocked on 1,500 doors and talked to over 400 people to help who live in this neighborhood, asking them what their priorities were. It was all based on the recommendations of Erie Refocused. But we wanted to get the information from the residents themselves. So we used the core team to help guide the work, and used our door-to-door surveys and other community engagement and community meetings to help inform the specific strategies that we have. Some of the short-term recommendations, and I have a couple visuals for you today. We can get a little bit closer, but since the plan isn't quite finalized, I didn't want to do a deep dive. But essentially, thank you, Mayor. There are short-term recommendations coming from the plan. What we heard is there was a sense of, a lack of safety, of high crime. People didn't feel safe sending their kids to some of the parks, and there really wasn't enough parks to provide recreational opportunities. So some of the short-term includes better lighting, better street lighting, trimming of trees so lighting can make it down to the sidewalk, and cleaning up the neighborhood. But there's also a longer-term strategy that will take time, money, and effort, and we know going into this that there's going to need to be resources coming from all of the partners I just mentioned to help make this overall vision for East Side a reality. The longer-term recommendations is based on, this is an example of what we did is we really felt like there was a need for recreational and healthy opportunities, as well as this is our highest vacancy and abandonment area in the neighborhood. It's highly distressed. We know demolition is going to be needed, and we wanted to do it in a very strategic way that actually improved the neighborhood, didn't displace residents, and added community assets. And this is part of the analysis that got us there. We looked at existing parks. We're looking at ways to make better connections with those existing parks, but also through strategic demolition, how we can create a park system that actually creates a community asset where demolition has occurred. This was part of the analysis. The overall long-term vision will focus on creating a park and trail system and rehabilitating housing in this specific area where you had seen before. There is no network of parks that's serving it, and this is the highest area of blight and distress. So the goal is to look where that opportunity exists for us, acquire property, and turn it back into a park and trail system. This is a big, lofty goal. We understand that, and it's going to take a lot of partners to come to the table to make this happen. But we know that this is going to take years in the making, but we're willing to work and dedicate ourselves to it. It also calls for a heritage trail to be created along Parade Street. This trail this heritage trail will help celebrate the rich heritage of the businesses and the people of East Side, and has actually been incorporated into one of our strategic partners, Erie Arts and Culture, has taken this idea up and incorporated it into their New Horizons initiative. So they're going to be working with us to create this cultural heritage trail. We see it as a way to infuse economic development into a very critical commercial corridor of the East Side. My goal today wasn't to do a deep dive, just to give you an update of the planning work that's being done. I do want to take some time though to give some special thanks and credit to the people who have helped make this possible. One in particular, who's not with us today, she's just finishing up, so actually I think she's out into the real world, just finishing up her master's degree, is Tessa Ferraro. Tessa was my intern last summer and helped write this plan, along with the residents who lived there. She stuck with this project when she went back to school in the fall and used it as her thesis project. Tessa won an Outstanding Student Project Award for her work and dedication to this community, for her work. And her dedication to this community and knowledge shows in every page of the plan. She has since graduated from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign with a degree in planning and is out looking for the next community where she can make a difference. So thank you, Tessa, for all your hard work. An outcome of the work for East Bayfront, what we realized is that there were deeper issues affecting the people who lived here, who kept people and families in poverty and living in substandard housing. We knew more information was needed. And fortunately for us, we had strategic partners from UPMC, Hammett Health Foundation, Erie Insurance, and the Primary Care Health Network that came to the table and created the Count Me In initiative. That is an initiative that we talked about a few weeks ago. Because of this work, it will help all of these partners understand and better address the issues facing residents and families struggling with health and wellness and the social determinants that are keeping them in poverty. As you can see, there's a lot of work ahead for all of these partners. And to help with that, I am also pleased to announce that our AmeriCorps Vista, Erin Carey, who's here, Erin, say hi, thank you, who has worked with us for the past year on these and other initiatives, will be staying on with the city to advance the recommendations of the East Bayfront Plan and the outcome of the Count Me In initiative. Thanks to Hammett Health Foundation, who's helped funding the continuation of Erin's work, who has seen that this work and the value of this bright and energetic young woman needs to stay in Erie. So we're very happy that she'll be staying with us and working on this big, lofty goal. Now to transfer, actually now we're going to move on to Academy, and you're going to announce that. Okay, sorry, this is an ever evolving agenda. I just want to say in short, you'll see more of the East Bayfront Plan. It will be looked at by the core team next week. It will eventually go on to Planning Commission, the CAT team, Planning Commission, and City Council for final adoption. Thank you very much.
Don't go far away, Kathy.
I'm not going far away.
Thank you, Kathy, and I'm very proud of the work you and our team are doing to ensure that all our neighborhoods become welcoming and vibrant. Adding Erin Carey to the team is also much needed, giving us more capacity to get more things done, particularly in transforming the East Bayfront neighborhood. And I also want to thank UPMC, Hammett, and Boo Haggerty for making that possible for us. So what's next? In addition to working in the core, Erie Refocus also recommends that we focus our early work in our transitional neighborhoods. Transitional neighborhoods are those that have started to move away from becoming welcoming and vibrant, and without some assistance, they may continue to move and actually become distressed. That's why we announced 2 weeks ago that our next step this summer is to begin work in the Academy Marvintown neighborhood. That neighborhood is from East 26th to East 38th, State Street over to Old French Road. I would like to now invite Kathy back to the podium one more time to give us an update in our outreach efforts in the Academy Marvintown neighborhood. Kathy.
All right, this is the second neighborhood plan, as the mayor mentioned. Eventually, we will hit all 17 planning areas that are identified in Erie Refocus, but it takes time. But we are willing to put the effort into this. The Academy Marvintown neighborhood plan is in its infancy. We are starting, and we talked a little bit about this 2 weeks ago. We need volunteers to help. So this is a call for volunteers. We are surveying properties to understand the conditions of the housing stock. We have about 370 properties surveyed, but we could use more hands on deck. We have an online survey. 48 people have filled out the survey, but we need more. We will start going door to door, talking with residents, like we did in East Bayfront, in the next few weeks. But the only thing I'm asking all of you out there today is if anyone would like to help, please contact Paul Cancilla via email at pcancilla@erie.pa.us, or you can call me at 814-870-1240. The Academy Neighborhood Watch Group is doing fantastic work, bringing some volunteers to the table, but we could use your help. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Kathy. I think you can take a breath now. I really look forward to getting out, going door to door in the coming weeks here. It's extremely important for us to hear directly from residents, and there's honestly nothing I enjoy more than going door to door and talking to Erie residents. So if you live in the Academy Marvintown neighborhood, open your doors to us and let your voice be heard. I also want to thank our planning intern, Paul Kinsella, for assisting in the Academy Marvintown neighborhood planning. Thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate that. Next, I'd like to make everyone aware of the neighborhood resources that are available for residents in need of residential repairs. My team recently created a brochure. Could you, thank you. Have to bring that up. This brochure, which is not in final form yet, but this at least gives you an idea of what it's going to be like. It outlines funding that's available from various programs and neighborhood organizations for residents in the city of Erie who will need help with their residential repairs. These funding sources can also help with making repairs that were pointed out as part of code enforcement when their officers are going around, as we did in the East and West Bayfront area, pointing out things that need to be done. You see Andy Zimmerman here, our head of code enforcement as well. So this would help people comply with code enforcement violations. There are also programs in the guide such as efficiency repairs through the PA Housing Finance Agency, lead hazard remediation through the Erie Redevelopment Authority, the HOME program, which is now being run by the City of Erie's Department of Economic and Community Development. And I want to talk just for a minute about the HOME program. It's part of the city's annual block grant from HUD. We believe that this program has tremendous potential to help both current homeowners and aspiring homeowners. We are excited to make this available to Erie residents. Veronica Fields, the city's assistant grant administrator, will be taking the reins on the HOME program. HOME can provide financial assistance of up to $24,999 to first-time home buyers. That would be helping them with closing costs and down payment assistance, and also existing homeowners when home rehabilitation costs exceed the resident's ability in order to get back up to code. In order for applicants to qualify for HOME funds, they must meet the following 3 criteria. First, it has to be a single-family dwelling. Second, it must be located within city limits. And third, it must meet City of Erie code standards. The homeowners must also fall beneath HUD's Erie County household income threshold. We are not quite ready to launch the program yet, but Veronica will have about $400,000 to deploy when we are. We look forward to announcing the HOME program formally very soon. This new brochure provides contact information for 19 home improvement resources to Erie homeowners. Some are neighborhood specific and some are citywide. We're trying to get the word on these programs out in many ways. We will post this on our website and all our social media. We'll be having paper copies available here at City Hall. Paper copies will also be distributed to residents by code enforcement officers and Erie Redevelopment Authority personnel. Paper copies will also go out to the Erie Neighborhood Growth Partnership to distribute to their members. Finally, we'll be sending out a digital file to all neighborhood watch groups and associations, Erie Neighborhood Watch Council, and the Neighborhood Resource Organization. I want to thank our design intern, Samantha Sherwood. I don't think Samantha's here, is she? But thanks to Samantha and our America Vista, Aaron Carey, who is with us, for gathering all these resources together in an easy-to-read brochure. Now, before we end, I want to showcase an amazing event that will be happening in Perry Square this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Erie's first global multidisciplinary arts celebration is called Amera Masala. Amera Masala event will feature renowned cultural music, dance, and food. This event is free and open to the public. Here to tell us more about it is Sister Margarita Dangle from the Sisters of St. Joseph Neighborhood Network. Sister?
And actually,
thank you. Lynn Johnson is also with us today.
Right.
Thanks for being here. They have some interesting props.
hello. I actually let Lynn talk.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Lynn Johnson. This is the Saturday this Saturday coming up on the Amera Masala Festival. It starts at 11 o'clock. You know, we're opening with Seneca Elder, Mr. Briggs. We're opening up. And at 12 o'clock, we have this parade. You know, we have like giant puppets, you know, dragons. We have a 20-member all-female Afro percussion group from New York City named Battle NYC. They'll knock your eyeballs out. And we're ready. We are ready. Afterwards, we have different cultural foods in the park. We have different bands. We have the Allegheny River Dancers. We have One More Tribe, first time playing the Erie in 2019. We have Mambo. We have some East Indian dancers, perform. So we're going to work it for you, Saturday.
And what a wonderful opportunity to start together celebrating as different cultures come together in a peaceful environment. So as we are reaching out to create more equity in the city, let's start with celebrating together. Thank you.
Thanks very much. That really is a great example of how we celebrate our rich cultural diversity here in Erie. I encourage everyone to come on down. I was there last year. It's a great time. You'll enjoy a Mayor Marsala event. Watch the parade, which begins at noon. That concludes today's press conference. I think we're going to take about 5 minutes to reshuffle a little bit, and then we'll be starting with Josh Shapiro's press conference, hopefully around 10:30 or so. Thanks very much for being here. And if you want to interview anybody that presented today, you can get that done in the next few minutes as well. Thanks very much.